All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Um, Lots of familiar names here. Marlene is in the house. Haven't seen Miss Grace in a minute. How you doing, Miss Grace? I want you guys to take notes. I'm going to go over a lot of what I'm going to say tonight. Shouldn't be new, but hopefully it resonates to the point where we start really taking action. I've put in the chat, if you can go into the chat, the really five things that you guys need, most of which I'll go over tonight. But I just want you to copy this. You will get a copy of um, this webinar, but it'll also be in my on my YouTube channel. Um, but let's see. Oh, so here are the five things that you guys need to be successful in 2026. And I'm going to give you the 2026 real game plan where smart investors are actually making money, where investors are making money, how we're making money in our office, how a lot of our coaching students are making money. I want you guys to take note and then just simply emulate. I've been fortunate to be successful in business or some businesses, and I've never gone into a business trying to reinvent the wheel. I've looked at what's been successful and I just emulated that. I remember when I first started selling real estate, I had no intentions on selling real estate. I started in the industry as an investor at 23 years old, and I was investing for years before I decided to get my license and sell. But once I started selling, I really enjoyed it. And so I said, I'm going to be the best that I can be as a real estate agent. And so I just um, joined a brokerage. A friend was part of a brokerage. I joined that brokerage. I just started following what the top agents in the office was doing. I tried to dress the way they were dressing. Um, I market, I did my marketing strategy according to what they were doing, the top ones, and put my own little twist on everything. And I became the number one agent in that office in my very first year, my rookie year. I was the number one agent. And so I said, I need to emulate some other top agents. So I left the brokerage, and long story short, I got to Remax, and they were the top agents, really in the country, but definitely in the area. And I just started emulating what they were doing. I wanted to do what they were doing. I wasn't trying to, figure everything out on my own, reinvent the wheel. I wasn't trying to do any of those things. So I just started doing what they were doing, and I became the number one agent in the county for many years in the 2000s. When I bought my real estate brokerage, same thing. As an investor, same thing. And so for you guys, part of your success is finding a model, a role model, and emulating that role model, doing what they do, um, and and just focus on copying the success. And you'll see that if you're able to do that, then you will be successful too. And then sometimes you put your own little twist to it. You maybe do a little better with customer service and marketing and accounting and all those things, and you will be successful. So the game plan, part of the game plan for this year is finding deals. And again, I put it in the chat, finding deals, and I will go over that, how to find deals. And I say this all the time. You guys should be tired of me saying it, but the investor that can find the most deals is going to make the most money. It's as simple as that. Because you find what we consider a deal, now you've got options, exit strategies. And so, what's your exit strategy? When you find the deal, you're going to wholesale the deal, flip the deal, or buy and hold. My preference for you is to buy and hold. Capital. You need money. Now, initially, you don't need money. You can wholesale the deals that you find. You can assign those deals to another investor. But at some point, in order to scale, in order to buy and hold, you're going to need capital. And so we do have lenders that can help you with the capital. Wherever your property is, whatever type property it is, you're going to need some capital eventually. And so we can help you with that. Even with creative financing strategies, of which I'll talk about tonight, um, you are going to eventually, maybe 2 years from now, 5 years after purchasing the property, you're going to need to refinance out of that property and you're going to need capital. Although there are some ways, and I'll talk about it, to refinance and not have to put up any money. You're going to need to align yourself with a great team. As number three, you have to be part of a great team. And I want you guys to start thinking really, really big and setting big goals. Your goal should be, let's, as an example, $20,000 a month and passive income for the rest of your life, or $30,000, or maybe $10,000 to supplement what you already got going on in your life in terms of retirement. But whatever that is, you're going to need a team in order to help you get there. And so you need to start putting together a team, contractors, agents, coaches, mentors, title companies, lenders, things like that. And then obviously we can help you with all those things. You need bona fide systems so you can build a predictable business. And that's what we focus on. We want to have a predictable business. And so you need systems, CRMs, things like that. And then lastly, it's accountability. It's always hard to really do something and hold yourself accountable. I always use this analogy. Some of you guys have heard this before, but I worked with a trainer for many years. One of my agents was a trainer. I said, I need your services. So for probably at least 5 years up until the pandemic, I had a trainer. I had to meet him at 6 o'clock in the morning, 3 days a week. And I was never late because even when I woke up in the morning, didn't feel like going, I knew he was there. He was holding me accountable. And so I was there. Then the pandemic hit, gyms closed down. We never got back together. And so now, for example, today I got up like I normally do, went to the gym, sat in the parking lot, had a bunch of stuff on my mind. Today's actually my birthday. You guys can say happy birthday to me if you like. And long story short, I didn't go into the gym. Sat in the parking lot, didn't go. And it was like, who cares? Nobody even knew. And I got home and was asked, did you go to the gym? And my answer was, well, yeah, I went to the gym. Now, did I go inside? No. Nobody was holding me accountable. And so we've got to hold each other accountable. You've got to be part of an accountability group in order to be successful. Accountability is huge in order to really grow an investment business. And that's what I want you guys to do in 2026. And so we've got to find deals. We've got to have capital or have access to capital. We've got to be part of a team and have team members to help us. Then we need systems in place so that we have a predictable business that grows. And then we need accountability in 2026. And so take notes. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm probably going to go a little fast, try to get you guys out of here at a good time. Thank you for thank you for all the birthday wishes. Let's go. Okay, so why this conversation matters. And so what's different in 2026, and I want you guys to pay attention, higher for longer interest rates. So we've got interest rates that have been higher, and they're still high. Interest rates have come down 3 times in about the last 6 months. Last week when the Fed met, it didn't come down, it stayed stable. And so we've got higher for longer interest rates, and the interest rates will probably start to come down in about another 6 months. The Fed chairman changes hands in May. The new president has already appointed someone that's going to take their place. That person is the new president friendly. I'll say it that way. President wants the interest rates to come down, so interest rates will probably come down then. But right now, interest rates have stayed higher longer, and that's just part of what we need to know in order to navigate through this market. In 2026, there's smarter, more cautious buyers. And so, especially for you wholesalers, these buyers are smart. We've submitted this week, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 contracts this week, and the majority of the sellers are scrutinizing our contracts. Now we've had the same contracts for years. They're smarter. So the buyers and the sellers are are smarter, and they're cautious. Even though they need to sell, they're cautious. Um, Motivated but educated sellers. So the sellers are educated in this market, and fewer amateurs investors, which means more opportunity for us. All right. What most people are getting wrong. This is what you guys are getting wrong. Number one, I think that we're overthinking the market. Let's not overthink it. Let's just run our numbers and let's take action. It warmed my heart when Valerie said earlier, most of you guys missed it, but she said that she found a expired listing. She found out who the seller was and she took action. She found the phone number and she made the call. And oftentimes that's what we've got to do. We've got to take action. Now, the seller in this case said that they weren't going to sell right now. The listing had expired. Expired listings is one way that we do get deals, but she took action. And so we've got to start taking action and more action. We've got to stop waiting for rates to crash. The rates aren't going to crash. They're not going to go from where they are down to um, 2% as an example. The market's not going to crash. And so stop waiting. But you've got to jump in and take action. And you've got to have, the mindset to do that. Um, Another mistake, sitting on cash with no plan. A lot of investors have the money, they've got the credit, the money, and they're not taking action because they don't have a plan. If you don't have a plan, your plan should be to buy and hold real estate. That should be your plan. That's the gift that keeps on giving. That's cash flow. Cash flow is king. You'll hear me say that about 3 or 4 more times. Comes with great appreciation, but you have to have a plan. I will offer to you guys on here that if you don't have a plan, contact me. My contact information is on the last slide, but you can just go to gbschedule.com, gbschedule.com, and I will sit down with you at no cost and go over a plan so that you have a plan for this year. Also, mistakes going on is chasing appreciation. Let's not necessarily chase appreciation. Um, in many areas that we're investing in, and what comes to mind is Baltimore, uh, we're not getting the kind of appreciation that we would get, let's say, in DC. But if you buy the property right, you're getting great cash flow. And again, I said I was going to say it 4 or 5 more times, cash flow is king. And so oftentimes we're chasing that appreciation where what we should be chasing is great cash flow. I've got a scenario that just came to mind. I want to get you guys' opinion. And so we called a motivated seller yesterday. And I think my VAs must have called this seller. And so day before yesterday, I called her yesterday, and she's got a house in Waldorf, I think it is. In Waldorf, give me your opinion. She has $100,000 in equity, no cash flow, like zero cash flow. 100,000 in equity, zero cash flow. She's open to doing a lease option or a subject to. She's open to do a lease option or subject to. So I could buy the property, not have to put up any money, take over her mortgage. I can take over her mortgage, but there's no cash flow. Now I can force some cash flow eventually by adding a bedroom in the basement, but she does have $100,000 in equity. Somebody unmute yourself, go to the chat and tell me if I should what I should do. Should I pass on this deal? Um, should I go ahead and buy the deal even though there's no cash flow, but there's 100,000 in equity? I won't have to put up any money. Nobody's checking my credit on this. I said, would you be open to a lease option? She said yes. I said, well, I may want to take over the mortgage. She said yes. And so, should I buy the property? Somebody tell me.
I think you should. So are you doing a subject to, Greg, or the lease option? Well, either way, I think either one of them, maybe the subject to would probably be best. Um, is her interest rate low? You said her interest rate is low.
Yeah, but
Interest rate is low, and
it's low, but it's no cash flow.
no cash flow. Okay, so but she's got
Like
100,000 in equity.
it has 100,000 in equity. What she owes on the mortgage, what the mortgage payment
Mm-hmm.
is about exactly what I could rent it for. So no cash flow.
So no cash
There is
flow.
some equity. I wouldn't have to put down 20% or anything like that. I wouldn't have to put down anything. She just wants out. What should I do? Somebody help me. Please help me.
That's a no-brainer, isn't it?
I would say go for it.
I would go for it.
Yes.
Go for
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying
Yep.
to figure out where would you
I'd
benefit?
definitely go for it.
I would pass.
why is
That's
Where
that?
where would
opportunity.
you benefit?
I would benefit in that it would have to be a long-term investment.
Yep.
You already have equity in it, but
Mm-hmm.
I would have to keep it for at least 10. I would have to keep it, and over a period of time, I'll be able to get some more cash flow. So I would add a bedroom in the basement. Basement already has a bathroom. I would add a bedroom in the basement, and then I could eventually get
Passive
uh,
income.
charge more rent.
What's
And
the ARV grade? I mean, so the area that she's in, is the ARV still a decent ARV?
yeah, the after repair value. Yeah, I mean it's a higher. So the ARV, it's a typical colonial, Charles County colonial, um, 4 bedrooms. She's got 3.5 bath, 2 car garage. It's in like this. If you guys are familiar, it's like St. Charles, one of those St. Charles subdivisions. Keith, you actually used to own a house out there, and so it's one of those subdivisions. She just wants to let it go. She hasn't been able to sell it. We've been following up with her for about 6 months. She had it on the market, couldn't sell it. Um, we followed up on our spreadsheet, and our VA was able to get another appointment. And so when I looked at it, I said, well, dang, I talked to her about 6 months ago. What can I do? It's not selling. It was on the market. She took it off the market. She can't sell it. She's already moved out of the house. What can I do that would make sense for me and for her? And what I came up with was, depending on the information she gives me, it's probably good for a lease option or a subject to. And then when she gave me her numbers, I saw that there was equity, but no cash flow.
But she was and able to, I guess, give you what you wanted when you asked her to, if you could, the different things that you wanted to do
Yeah, she's agreed
when you
to
purchased the house. Yes,
the creative financing. And
right.
so Valerie says, get it. Hattie says, go for it. Marlene is now
I
confused.
have a question, Greg.
Go ahead.
I want to know
What is the reason the house did not sell?
I think that I haven't seen the house.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that I mean it's Charles County, it's Waldorf.
Mm-hmm.
I just think houses are it's just a little harder to sell there, I guess.
Have you checked the comps up against what she was asking for?
Yeah,
And is she under that or at that or over that in her
a little
price?
under that. She's under that.
Is that, uh-huh.
I don't, in my opinion, it seems to me that it shouldn't even be a question
Okay.
without seeing the house. You don't know what you're getting. I mean,
Oh, you're
correct me if
basically
I'm wrong.
yeah, you're gonna see it. I would want to go into contract
Oh,
and then go see it and
See
then
it
be
first.
able to get out of the contract.
Does it meet the Mayo formula?
No.
Okay.
But for you to score it and then sell it on a lease option to a third party who puts up some money as a small down payment, but they don't qualify right now with a lease option.
No, if I do it, it's long term for me. I wouldn't sell
Oh,
it.
okay. All
I would
right.
have to get it and then know, and there's no problem with what I'm getting ready to say, but know that I'm going to be in it for 10 years. And then in 10 years, that equity will double, if not triple. And
Mm-hmm.
I will have, at that point, I'll have really, really good cash flow.
Mm-hmm. And how old is the
Mm-hmm.
house? How old is the house?
I would imagine, I don't remember, but probably 10, 15 years,
Okay.
20
Uh-huh.
at,
So that
20 at
means
the
that you're
most is
not
when
worried
they,
about having
That's
to
not
update
bad.
like the electrical and plumbing and all that. And yeah, I could see how that could be a buy and hold or lease option or something.
what I
Hey,
like
Greg,
about it,
And
it does have,
you have
it
the
does have
potential.
equity in it.
Yeah, yeah. You have the potential. And with your talent, you have the potential to, like you said, um, do the force appreciation over time. And obviously, and you don't even know if there's room to like add another bedroom.
Oh, there's room to add a bedroom. Basement, it's a big basement by the square footage.
Mm-hmm.
Already has a bathroom. I just need to add a bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can charge more rent and
Right.
every year
mm-hmm,
I can
mm-hmm.
go up 5% on the rent.
Yeah.
Greg, how much is the repair cost gonna for that bedroom? Would you say about what, 40 or 50 or
No, no, no. 40 or 50 is for a whole basement. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe 10,000. It,
Mm-hmm.
it just depends. I'd have to see it, but maybe 10 at the most. I mean, I
that?
think it could be a good long-term investment. Go ahead,
Mm-hmm,
Marlene.
mm-hmm.
You have a question, Marlene?
Yeah, where is it? Is it near any special places like I don't
Yeah.
know,
It's by a lot of
attractions and stores or
so
events or
guys,
venues?
some of you guys are familiar with Waldorf.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
As you're going down, what's that, Route 3 or 301? 301. So as you're going down 301, once you get past the mall there, you're gonna hang a left, and there's a bunch of single family home subdivisions back there. So it's in a decent location.
Mm.
I think all in all, and we got to move past this, but I think all in all, and so I bring this up because we're going to run up against these type of deals. And for me, as long as I can buy a property and not have to put any money down,
Mm.
probably a good deal. Because
Absolutely.
even the money that because what's the only thing that really scares me is like tenant turnover.
Mm.
Or if the tenant misses a payment or anything like that. Now, since I'm not making any money initially, I've got to subsidize all that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I said to pass on it.
I think you should go for it, really,
Can
because
you
that
hear
house
me?
is it's a
I,
newer. I know that area. It's a newer
Can you hear
house, and
me?
there's great potential there. And he
I can
has
hear you,
pay.
Marlene. So Marlene,
I'm
you saying
sorry?
pass on it. Marlene, are you saying pass on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I like what Alex is saying. He's
Alex
saying
is saying
thinking
that
long
thinking
term.
long term,
Well,
and
let me tell you what I'm
we just have to.
thinking.
We also have to vet the tenants too. Make sure that the
Okay.
vetting process is stringent.
Oh,
Yeah,
Right, but it's already vacant. That's just
yeah.
another positive.
yeah.
Maybe I'm on mute.
I think that
Are they?
if there was no equity in it, it would make a difference. But since there
Yeah,
is equity in it, I think that's a win.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so too. I'm,
Okay, well, if
I'm,
y'all want
hes
to do it.
I'm
I'm
hesitant.
hesitant. I wouldn't do it, but everybody else is saying you should.
And another
I'm
Yeah.
reason
not
I
taking
think so
anything that I
because
can't make any money out of because I
Mhm.
gotta factor in, like you said, those risk factors.
Yeah.
If things break in the house, if people don't pay, that's money coming out of my pocket. That's the problem that I would be concerned about. Remember, the cash flow, you would at least need to take half of that to put aside for any expenses if things start to break down in the house. You don't use the whole 100%. You figure 50% of that you put aside for any miscellaneous expenses of anything that could be happening in the house that you would have to repair. So you're not coming out of your pocket per se to fix stuff. That is why I said don't do it
But the but
because
the
things are going to break in the house, Greg.
but the argument is, and you're right with everything you're saying, but the argument is you can recoup that money over time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I
Yes.
add one more point too, Greg?
Go
To
ahead.
me, we're in the bottom of the market. To me. So I'm thinking you can only go up, and so it's like, although you have 100,000 in equity, there's a chance that, in a couple of years, you might even have 200,000 in equity. And so if you just had to pull, if the rents, catch up and you had to pull a little something, you still could from that equity. If you had to, in other words, you have an exit strategy without having, in other words, you have a relief to be able to handle some of those repairs if you just had to. And it can actually, stabilize because I believe that that area can only go up.
So
The other
so
the other thing,
so go ahead.
I'm
So,
sorry.
Greg,
The other
I'm
thing I
sorry.
was going to say, Greg, if you use the co-living model, you
That's what
could
I was going to say.
definitely make over
Yeah.
over the mortgage amount if you use the co-living model.
That's something that I did think of um, to rent rooms, but for me personally, and it's just me, you guys, that's not for me. I don't have, and maybe it could be, but it's just not for me. I just don't have the time. I'm busy with a lot of what I do. And so my preference is always Section 8. I can almost not literally set it and forget it, but I've got guaranteed money coming in. I check on my tenants like I should. But the co-living, which you're right, I would have cash flow. I mean, if
Absolutely.
I did co-living, if I did student housing, if I did midterm rentals and rented it out to uh, to nurses,
Visiting nurses, yeah.
uh, and there is a hospital not far from there. Southern Maryland Hospital is not far from there. Those are all the things that I
You got
could.
options
Oh, yeah, we got options. I think you
you
guys talked me into
to go in ahead with
I think we didn't have to really twist your arm for real.
it.
Not gonna
Okay.
do it, right?
you probably didn't, but I just kind of want to make a point that we're going to come up against these type of opportunities, and you can't be afraid to pull the trigger on these. This one's a little tough because it's like no cash flow. Normally, house doesn't fit the Mayo formula, but there is $300 or $400 a month in cash flow. There is equity, and since you don't have to put any money down, you're using a creative financing strategy. That's a win. But in this case, with no cash flow, and cash flow is king, it's just a little tougher.
Mhm.
I've been mulling it over for 2 days now. I was supposed to call her back today and just I didn't call her back because I just hadn't figured it out yet. But I think I'm gonna go for it. The other piece of it is in a situation like this one, and this is tough, but you've got to have some money some of your own money, um, almost set aside, but you've got to have either cash flow from other properties or you have to have some reserve on your own um, to handle a property like this, just in case there's some vacancies or, like you guys said, something was to break. Now you're going to recoup that over time, and the longer you keep the property, the more money you're going to make. That property is probably going to generate on paper. What did I calculate? I calculated five. I think I calculated around $25,000 a year in equity to be conservative. That's what I calculated. So you're going to recoup that money over time.
So did you get that deal from your mailing that you did?
Keith, do you remember how we got her? Keith, you can look it up.
It was one of two things, either one of our VAs or your pay per lead.
Yeah. I don't think it was a cold call because it's in Charles County. And we didn't call Charles County, so it's probably pay per lead. I probably the lead.
The
PPL.
key point is you followed up for 6 months and again, and that's how you're getting it the opportunity.
That's the other great point here. You've got to follow up. We had so we have a list of leads to follow up on, and one of our VAs followed up, and actually she got 5 deals just from following up in one day, and we wrote contracts on all of them. So you'll hear me say the fortune is in the follow up, and it truly is.
So what do you, how do you, because there's so many definitions about what a lead is. What is the meaning of a lead to you? Because you mentioned that earlier.
So I think a lead is after doing some type of marketing, a motivated seller calls you and they're interested in selling their property.
Okay.
To me, that's a lead.
Mm-hmm.
Now that lead might not work out. We
Mm-hmm.
might not, have a meeting of the minds,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a lead.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the leads that came in from follow-up, this is in Baltimore. So this was a cold call because we called Baltimore. Um, and I will tell you guys that you may or may not like Baltimore, but the deals are in abundance there. And so we called this one lady, Amelia, and I called her yesterday on one property, negotiated, and got her to a price. And guess what Amelia said? I got 2 other properties that I'm ready to get rid of.
Mm,
And so we're writing on all 3 properties as we speak. We're writing on all 3 properties.
all right. That's great, Greg.
And that's not abnormal in Baltimore.
I'm
And
Were
so
they
what?
in your favorite zip code that you were talking about the other day?
So she was in my favorite zip code.
Mm-hmm.
The other 2 I don't think are that she
Mm-hmm.
has. But the one we called on was on Allendale Road,
Mm-hmm.
and that was my favorite zip code, but her other 2. But she's willing to do a deal
Mm-hmm.
on all 3, and all 3 are already rented out, which is generally a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
We can get the tenants out. Her rents are extremely low, which is fine because we
Mm-hmm.
can get the tenants out when it's time for them to come out, and then raise the rents.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have to spruce up? So would any repairs be needed to be done, Greg, or?
Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't seen the properties, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Once the
Okay.
tenants, not now, but once the tenants move out, you're always going
Right.
to have to, at the very least, do some
Spruce it up.
paint or touch up paint. Flooring. She said definitely paint. She said the flooring doesn't need anything done to the flooring, but I'm sure it does. And then
Mhm.
because you got to make it into to move in condition. But those properties up there, especially in like where I like 21229, they're renting for as high as $2,500 a month. And so and she's renting hers out for, I'll just say a lot less, not even like 1,600, 1,700. She's one of the tenants, and we all make this mistake. I mean, landlord, where we get our tenants in there, and for one reason or another, we're afraid to go up on the rent. So she's had the rents where they are for like 4 or 5 years and just never went up on them, where we should be going up on them. So my favorite zip code, I'll put it in the chat. And this is just me. And the only reason why it's my favorite zip code is because it's in West Baltimore. So for me, coming from Prince George's County, as soon as I get to Baltimore, I'm in that zip code. And so for convenience, and it's a working class zip code where there's very little board ups. Um, there are homeowner blocks where the families work and the kids go to school, and so it's not, so that's, and the properties are very affordable.
Is it Edmondson Village, or Charles Village? Great.
Edmondson Village.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's just me. Other people like Marquise likes 21213 Baylor Edison, and that's where I started in Baltimore, just because that's where he liked it. That's where he liked, and I just want to emulate what he was doing. But it's on the east side, and so I got to go through the tunnel and all that to get there.
Hmm.
Which is there's no issue. I started buying there, but my preference is just for convenience sake. As soon as I get to Baltimore, I'm right there. I don't have to go through the city, and I have to go all the way around in the tunnel. So that's just me. All right. All right, what most people are getting wrong. Here's what a lot of people are getting wrong. Um, Chasing appreciation, sitting on cash with no plan. Oh, I've already gone through this slide, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going backwards. All right. Uh,
Great. Wait a minute. I don't think you did the last one. Did you do following headlines over data? Because I don't have anything for that.
okay, so chasing appreciation, I think that's where I stopped. And
Mm-hmm.
so to my point on the lease option, kind of chasing appreciation. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not there. What we really should focus on is the cash flow. That's why, that one property is such a hard time for me to make a decision on whether or not I should buy that property because the appreciation is there, but the cash flow is not. Using old strategies, 2021 strategies, we've got to use newer strategies, and I'll go over those strategies in a minute, and then following the headlines instead of data. And so we read on the paper, we look at the news on what's going on. What's really going on is you've got to get out and see what's going on. And what's really going on is deals. There's lots of deals out here, you guys. There's tons of deals out here. You just got to know where to find them. All right. Here's the mindset. Here's how we have to think. Cash flow over hype, terms over price. We've got to have great terms. And a lot of the great terms are coming from the creative financing strategies. Good margins, control, and strategy over emotion. So we've got to know the strategy of each deal. Now, where the money is in 2026, smart investors are focused on buy and hold strategies. Buy and hold. Everybody on here should be buying and holding. I mean, I preach that, but everyone should be buying and holding, done right, creative financing, selective flips, wholesaling, and deal control and opportunity. All right, buying and holding, still king when done right. And so we've got to buy and hold right. It's still king. Buy and hold still wins. Rents remain strong. Rents go up 5%, you guys. Speaking of Baltimore, majority of people in Baltimore rent. like 65% of the people rent, which means for investors like us, but nationally, so which is great for us, but nationally, Baltimore is the number one residential rental area in the United States because you can buy low and rent high, and you've got a ton of tenants. If you're a Section 8 investor like myself, there's a waiting list. There's people who are sitting back waiting on you to buy a house, fix it up so that they can live in it. And what we're doing is we're turning 3 bedroom, 1 baths into 4 bedroom, 2 baths. One of our investors just got $2,500 a month for rent. They bought the property for like 95,000, put 60 into it. Their payment is about 1,500, renting it for 25. They're making they're making $1,000 a month in cash flow. They're making $1,000 a month in cash flow, which, man, leads me to believe that maybe I should let that one property go and go to Baltimore and buy a property where I can get $1,000 a month and $100,000 in equity. Maybe you're right, Marlene. Um, inventory, so rents are strong. Inventory remains tight. Inflation favors asset owners and long-term wealth creation. That's why we buy and hold. We primarily buy and hold for cash flow and appreciation, but we buy and hold for long-term wealth. Long term, it's a long-term investment. And so, why is it a long-term investment? It's because you can make money every month, every year, and then the following year, you can make even more money because you can go up on the rent. Section 8 will allow you to go up on the rent. Your tenants know because in most cases it's built in the lease that rents are going to go up 5% the next year. Tenants already know that. Landlords don't do it, but they should. And even in Baltimore, property values are going up. Now, this is not a class on Baltimore, um, but it's a great area to buy and hold. You're going to get more appreciation in DC than you will in Baltimore. We're looking at 3 properties in Southeast DC tomorrow morning, and we're going to try to buy them creatively. And we're going to, if we're able to buy, let's just say one, I mean, that property is probably going to double in value in 10 to 15 years because it's DC. And so you're getting better appreciation there. But of course, the properties are, going to cost you more. Buy and hold is what we should be working towards doing. Buying and holding properties is what we should be doing.
Hey, Greg,
Yes.
does Section 8 automatically increase by 5% annually?
No, you got to ask them. It's not automatic. That's a good question. All right, buy and holds that work. Strong cash flow at today's rates. Small multifamily, like 4 units. Section 8, workforce housing. Tired landlord acquisition, so buying properties from tired landlords. And creative financing structures. Hmm. So no to appreciation only deals. Yes to cash flow first deals. I think Marlene. I think you're right, Marlene. All
Unless
right,
unless there's no down payment or a deferred down payment,
that's a good
but
point.
and 100,000 in equity when you acquire. What's the approximate fair market value of that property?
Um, it's almost worth 700,000.
And the mortgage is about 6 grand.
No, mortgage is
I
only
mean 600 grand. Mortgage payoff balance.
mortgage balance is just shy of like 590. Yeah, 590. All right, creative finance. We've all heard of it. Um, that's what we're doing in this market, you guys. We've got to learn how to acquire properties. We've got to learn how to, for example, the property that I've been talking about. I just sat and thought to myself, what can I do to buy this property? Someone's going to buy it. I've got to think creatively. Whoever buys this is going to buy it creatively. She's moved out of the state. House is vacant. She's probably just looking for a solution. I understand what lease options are. I understand what seller financing is. I understand what subject to is. And so I thought for her, I first thought lease option because most people have heard of that. Lease option, lease with an option to buy. I didn't want to hit her with subject to because most people don't understand that. So first I said lease option. I'll lease the property for 2 years. I'll pay your mortgage payment, and then as rent, we'll lock into the price, which I'm just going to pay the mortgage balance off in this case, and then I'll buy it in 2 years. She's open to that. Then I said, well, it might be better if I just go on the deed as a revocable trust and just buy the property. She was open to that too. And so going on the deed as the buyer, buying the property, that's a subject to. I'm buying the property. I'm keeping the existing mortgage on the property. And at a later date, I'm paying off that mortgage. That's subject to. I'm buying the property subject to. It's not an assumption. It's I'm leaving that mortgage on the property and I'm taking it over. Seller financing is if one owns the property free and clear, then I'm going to ask them to be instead of me going to the bank, I'm going to ask them to go to the bank. A hybrid structure is combining two of the options I just mentioned in buying a property. For example, if you're buying a property and you're taking over a mortgage and the mortgage is 200,000, but you're buying a property for 300,000, but let's just say it's the ARV is 600,000, and then I'll do a subject to on the 200,000. I'll do seller financing on 100,000 and I'll buy the property that way. I'll use two of the strategies um, to buy the property, and that's hybrid. We teach all this in our platinum coaching program, but you can use two of the creative financing strategies to buy a property. When you do that, that's a hybrid structure. You're structuring at least two of the strategies to buy a property. Anybody confused on what I just said?
I am. I didn't really get that hybrid structure.
Okay, you guys write this down. Write this down. All right. We've got an ARV on the property after repair value of 600,000, right? 600,000 somewhere. That's what the house is worth. I make an offer to buy the property at 400,000. I'm buying the property at 400,000. There's a $200,000 mortgage on the property. So there's a $200,000 mortgage. I want to take over that mortgage. I want her to keep that mortgage on the property. It's a low interest rate. I'm keeping that mortgage on the property. That's subject to. So on the 200,000, I'm doing a subject to. But I'm buying the property for 400, so it leaves another 200,000. Instead of me reaching in my pocket to give her the other 200, I'm going to say, can you hold financing on that other 200,000? So on the other 200,000, right? 200,000 again, they're going to do seller financing. And so now I'm taking over the mortgage that's subject to at 200,000, asking them for a note at the other 200,000. So I'm doing subject to and then seller financing. And the two means I'm doing a hybrid structure of two of the strategies. So that
And that's
I don't have to come out of my pocket with any money or very, very little money.
so in essence, hybrid strategies, it's like using two different sources to come up with the financing.
Correct. And so we've got to think creatively. We've got to think creatively. And so if you guys have a deal, I can help you, think creatively to buy the property. And again, as real estate investors, we've got to find solutions for the sellers. And oftentimes the sellers are open to these solutions. Um, no, Alvin is asking, can you wrap it with 400? Do you mean, Alvin, go out and get a $400,000 loan? Is that what you mean?
I'm not able to talk on Zoom. My hearing aids don't work. If I speak, I'm not able to hear you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry about that.
no worries. I don't think a wraparound would work in this case.
If you're a
Okay.
seller, it would be if when you were the seller, the wraparound is for when the underlying mortgage is at a lower interest rate. So, and you can sell it at a higher interest rate. So if this seller has a $200,000 mortgage at 3%, and you decide to sell your $600,000 property for $500,000 and tell someone you'll finance it at 6%, then you're getting 3% on the 200,000 and then 6% on the other 300,000 in equity.
Yeah, however you want to structure, but a wraparound means you've got to go out and get another loan. You're going to pay off the 200,000. I mean, maybe you could do that. Maybe you could do that. That's always an option. You might be able to do that. All right. Selective fix and flip. In this market, I want you to be selective if you're doing a flip. A lot the mistakes that a lot of people are making is um, buying properties or flips that have smaller margins. Let's not do that. Um, let's be conservative with our ARVs. Let's not do what I consider like gut jobs, major renovations. Let's be a little more conservative on the renovations, like cosmetic renovations or lipstick, paint, carpet, kitchen, bathrooms, maybe windows and roof. That's it. But let's not add square footage in this market. Let's reduce the risk. Let's be in and out in 90 days. Depending on the area, let's do our renovations with less than $100,000. Let's reduce the amount of permits, the amount of inspections. In this market, let's just be a little more conservative. Biggest thing on a flip, though, is let's have conservative ARVs, because in some areas, property values do go down. And then for you guys, unless you have a lot of experience, my recommendation is to partner with someone with experience on your flips. Wholesaling or wholetailing, or novations. And so we know that in this market, it's always a good market to wholesale real estate. Put a property under contract and then assign that contract to another investor. That's wholesaling. Wholetailing is actually buying a property and doing kind of what I just mentioned, very, very, very little renovation and then putting that property back on the market. A novation is putting a property under contract, partnering with the seller. So you're not buying a property, partnering with the seller on doing light renovations, allow them to make what they want to make. Let's say, Mr. and Miss Seller, how much money would you like to walk away with in this deal? let's just say they say $60,000. And so you put them under contract for a number that they'll make 60,000. You do very, very light renovation, and then you put it on the MLS and sell it to a end buyer, not a cash buyer, but an end buyer. And in terms of the profit, they get the first 60, and then you get the rest of the money. And so that's what a novation is. You're not buying a property, you're partnering with the seller, you're sprucing the house up. They get the first, in this case, 60,000, you get everything else. But you make sure that when you run your numbers, that you're also going to make what, 50, 60, whatever that is. That's a novation. All right, where are the deals coming from? And so our investors are, some of them are buying properties off the MLS, but they're also buying primarily off-market deals. Primarily off-market deals. We're finding deals through cold calling, driving for dollars, direct mail, auction properties. We're doing a lot of auction properties, word of mouth, social media. All of those things are how we're finding our deals. Tired landlords. We're buying a lot from tired landlords, pulling lists and calling landlords. We're buying a lot. We are doing expired listings or canceled listings or stale listings off the MLS. Unfortunately, failed flips, probate deals. We put properties under contract recently where buyers have backed out of deals, and then either the wholesaler or the seller will call us and we're able to get properties at a discount. All those areas, and I know I went fast on those, but all those areas, choose one and choose what works for you. I always like to say or think that like tired landlords, we've been having great luck on them. And so when we call a certain zip code, we're calling, well, really, we're calling out-of-state landlords in a certain zip code. And we're pulling a list from PropWire. And we're having great, great, great luck there. We are getting some, not as many as I want, from like Facebook paid ads. So I use a company to get Facebook paid ads. I use another company, LeadZillow, to get YouTube ads. But we've had our best luck, I would think, with just calling. And those are the cheapest way we're finding deals, just calling. Now, let me say this.
Are,
Go ahead, Bobby.
are Facebook ads pay-per-click, or how does that work? Or maybe that's a different class or a different conversation.
Yeah, no, pay-per-click or Google ads. Pay-per-lead, pay-per-click is Google ads. Facebook ads are the paid ads on Facebook. The paid ads. Like you're scrolling, and then you'll see some ads where you can click a link and go to a landing page. And so those are paid ads, as opposed to like organic posts. Like we might post something that's an organic post, but a sponsored ad or paid ad is when you're scrolling, you'll see like an advertisement. And if you're interested, you'll click on a link. You'll go to a landing page and you'll put in your contact information. And so we get a lot of leads that way. We've had our best luck though. I would say for me personally, through cold calling and just networking, getting the word out, and probate like inherited properties. We've had the best luck. Some of our investors have had a lot of good luck with buying properties off the MLS and auction properties. Choose one. Oh, one thing I was going to mention is I want you guys to be ready, willing, and able this year to buy a property, to hold. That's my one goal for you guys. One, buy and hold. You may want to wholesale, you may want to flip, but my goal for you is to buy and hold this year. And so we do find a lot of properties. We are putting property, we're sending out contracts every single day. A lot of our investors are as well in our platinum coaching program. And so you may or may not have the wherewithal to be consistent with the marketing, but if you're ready to buy a property, be a part of our community and we'll be able to find a property for you. We'll wholesale it to you, but we'll find the property for you. And so I don't want you guys, as much as this is a business and part of any business is marketing, this within our community is plenty of deals. And so just know that. We do have a lot of people that are finding deals, including ourselves. And so if you're looking for a property, you just let me know what you're looking for, and more than likely we'll be able to find that for you. The importance of deal structure, bottom line is the better you structure your deal, the more profit you're going to make. And so you've got to structure your deal. What comes along with that is negotiation. The lady with the 3 properties today, she wanted about $600,000 for the 3. She wanted 600 for the 3. She told me that yesterday. Today, and her justification was the houses need little to no work. I've got tenants in all 3. I came back to her today and said, we'll take them at 500. And so we're negotiating back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So we finally settled on 540. Now I already feel like 540 for all 3, which is 180 a piece, is too high. I need them just a little lower, closer to 500. I agreed to the 540. We're writing those 3 contracts now, all at 180 to make up to the 540. But I already know that when I do the walkthrough on all 3 next week, I'm going to renegotiate with her. I just want to get her on paper. I want her psychologically to think that she's close to getting, the 540, and then I'm going to renegotiate. But I wanted to get to the next step. And that's oftentimes what you need to do when you're structuring your deals. I've got outs in my contract where I can get out of the contract, and I will if she's not willing to come down, but but she'll come down. 70% of the time they come down. So she'll come down. But we've got to structure our deals correctly. She also tried to say, she also tried to get me to agree for me to pay all the closing costs. And I said, look, you're not going to have to pay any seller credit, but we are splitting the transfer and recordation taxes. And I was able to get her to agree to that. And so it's all in how you structure your deals. And you've got to learn how to structure your deals. What smart investors are avoiding, over leveraging, so owing more money than you could pay. That's over leveraging, thin margins. Just be conservative in this market. We're trying to be conservative. I always want to be conservative. I want to buy and hold just in case I make a mistake. I'll make it up over time. Mistake also is long rehabs. We don't want those. And we don't want to make deals on emotion. We want to keep it moving and make the right deal so we can make money for ourselves. Here's the game plan. Winning investors will focus on cash flow, master creative financing, analyze conservatively, stay deal ready, and build strong support systems, and then also be part of a community. That's your game plan. Part of that is the marketing. What is your marketing? What is your marketing strategy? What is it? We'll help you with that. I challenge everyone. Here's a challenge. Hope you guys take it. That I want you guys to schedule an appointment with me, and I'll go over with you what your game plan should be. Why most investors stall? The real problem isn't the market, is lack of taking action, lack of clarity, lack of systems, lack of accountability, lack of confidence. Be part of a program that's going to give you the confidence that you need in order to invest. Allow a group of people to help you invest. How to move forward with confidence, clear strategy, deal flow, expert guidance, accountability, and execution support. All right. And so we have a coaching program, a platinum coaching program. A number of my coaching students are here today. And everything that you guys need, deal finding, creative financing strategies, live deal analysis, coaching, and accountability, we have in our coaching program. Any thoughts, you guys? I do want you guys to contact me. And so here's my scheduler. It's gbschedule.com. Our coaching program it's a $5,000 program. It's a lifetime program, or the lifetime of the program. I guarantee you that you'll find a deal or your money back. We give you all the tools that you need. We put you in an accountability group. We meet live at least twice a week. We meet live. We actually also go out in the field a minimum of once a week, not once a week, once a month. And it's just a great program that will get you to where you need to be. If you're interested in our coaching program, just go to gbschedule.com, and I would love to talk to you. If you haven't been to our 4-day course, just click on you might be able to click on this link. But anyway, it's a BBC 4-day. And that starts on the 26th, our free 4-day course. We do have a boot camp that we're going out. We're taking our coaching students, but if you're not one of our coaching students, or taking some of our coaching students, I should say, and just want to go out in the field and just kind of feel how we do business, we have a 2-day boot camp where on the second day, we're out in the field. First day, we go over everything that we're going to see at the boot camp out in the field. And then on that Saturday, when we're out in the field, we end the day and we have a nice luncheon. And so we would love for you guys to be part of our community. Everything you guys need in terms of helping you find deals, helping you find capital, being part of a team and finding a team, systems and accountability, you will get in the program, not just from me, but from all of our coaching students as well. Any questions, you guys? Any takeaways?
I believe I sent you a message.
Okay, what did your message say? Oh, first available. Let's see, first availability. Oh, the first availability on my schedule is the 28th.
Of April.
Okay, that's not right.
Yeah, because I scheduled an appointment, and I'm on the 27th of
Okay, you
April.
guys write this email address down, the Bennett team at yahoo.com, and just send me an email that you want to meet with me. Something's wrong with my schedule.
So what do I do about what the schedule I've already scheduled? I mean, the time I've
Oh,
already
just email me.
they've already.
Yeah, just email me and we'll schedule something for next week.
What was the email?
It's right here, the Bennett team at yahoo.com. Can you
Oh,
see?
okay. I see it.
So there's 3 T's in the middle.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with my schedule. I'll fix that, but just send me an email and just let me know you want to meet, and we'll meet next week. I'll fix my schedule probably tonight or tomorrow and put you on my schedule. I'll email you back or call you. All right, any other questions, you guys? This has got to
Hello,
be
Mr. Bennett.
yeah, go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, sir. Yes, my name is Douglas. I had a quick question. When buying properties where there's already a tenant, why is that bad?
For number, I don't know why I have an
Oh, I
echo.
have an echo.
Am I out here twice? Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second.
It's not echoing no more.
Okay. It could be bad because if it's a bad tenant and they're not paying, if they're under lease and you're buying a property, let's say I'm buying a property and I'm closing at the end of this month. If they got a lease until the end of June, I've got to inherit that bad problem if they're behind in the mortgage. That's number one. Number two, generally with a tenant, the tenant is not paying current market rates because the majority of the landlords are not going up on the rent. And so I gave you guys the example of the 3 properties that the lady wants to sell. She's renting the properties out for 1,500, 1,700, and 1,800, where the market rent is like 2,500. And buying it while they're there, you've got to inherit that until you can get them out. Now, the landlord can't sell the property, they can sell the property, but the tenant gets to stay in there because they're under contract. They can't kick them out if they're under contract, meaning they have an active lease. Now, if they're month to month, they can give them what's supposed to give them a 60-day notice now, in order to get them out. And so I've done it both ways. So I've bought properties with tenants in there, and the tenants have been great. Um, and I've bought properties and put a contingency in the contract that the property, you have to deliver the property vacant. And so I've done it both ways. And so you just want to make sure, number one, if you buy a property with the tenant in there, the tenant is current and they're paying a market rate. Now, if they're not paying a market rate, you just want to make sure you get a great deal. Now, if you can get a great deal and have to deal with that tenant for 4 or 5 months, that's fine. And so just be careful for all those things. Also, last thing is if you're buying a property and you're getting like a hard money lender to finance that property, a hard money lender will not allow you to buy that property with the tenant in the property. They will only finance a property if it's vacant. They will not, you can't buy it, and you've got to show pictures. Sometimes they will actually come out and see the property themselves. But if you're financing the property, that's why you have to learn how to do creative financing strategies. Because
I did not know that.
yeah, they're not going to finance you if there's a tenant there.
Did not know that.
Thank you, sir.
Good question. All right. Any other questions, comments, takeaways? You guys write down my email address if you want to meet with me. I'm happy to meet with you guys one-on-one to go over your 2026 plan. I'm happy to meet with you guys if you're interested in our coaching program. I've got a glitch in my schedule because I am not that busy.
Greg, you did say that you were recording this. That was some great information that you just shared. And, I couldn't get it all down. And I definitely want to remember all of that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm going to turn it off.
That was great information. That was my take from the evening.